Oh no, it's all going wrong for Sheffield Wednesday. Danny Rohl got it wrong. A 6-0 battering, injuries and suspensions, and now a resurgent Swansea City are coming to town. To preview it all, we've got our resident owl, Matt. Good evening, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I was fine, Mark, until you mentioned the Ipswich game. Up until that point, I was doing okay.
I'm sorry if we talk about the wins, we have to talk about the losses. And we've got our resident Swansea City fan, James. How are you, James?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Mark. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. You looking forward to your Hillsborough trip?
Yes, well, especially after the last couple of games. Yeah, it's been quite the turnaround. So feeling a little bit more confident at the moment.
Okay, we'll come to you in a second, though. First of all, Matt. All right, let's run through it. First of all, is it the worst possible result to have just before an international break? Would you, as a player, do you think you sooner just want them to have the game the next week just to get out of the system, or is it good for them to get back on the training ground? What's your view on whether the 2-week break has been good for Wednesday?
Yeah, I would say it's a double-edged sword in yes and no. Yes, in the sense of it's good to have an international break straight after the back of 2 losses because it allows the squad to get back on sort of the training ground with the manager. It allows them a bit of time to reset away from the club, spend some time with their family, kind of remind them what's important to themselves, all the rest of it, and then come back in and be ready to work. It allows some players to come back to fitness as well. No, in the sense of you do not want a 2-week gap after a 6-0 drubbing. And let's not beat about the bush here. It was an absolute slapping by Ipswich. We got taught a lesson. I'm not going to sit here and pull any punches and say, oh no, Ipswich were lucky on the day or anything like that. Honest answer was, Mark, it could have been 8. So, I'm gutted to see that. Obviously, the negative performance and the manner of the defeat was really worrying. But I am quite pleased that there has been an international break because it does allow those players to reset after what has been a really tough run of fixtures where the squad have thrown everything at it and have, for the main part, really, really performed well.
Okay, just going to bring Andrew in as well, who obviously watched the game as well. Matt, first, did Danny Rohl for the first time get that completely wrong? Rumours were that he went 4-4-2 and tried to go at Ipswich. Is this on the manager?
Yeah, for the first time, no. He's done it a couple of times. He's tried to match up squarely against teams like Southampton, where, again, we got slapped aside. I would say he changed and tweaked the system against Leeds through needs, perhaps more than anything else. We got beaten that game. He did the same against Leicester. We got beat in that game. And he did the same by trying to almost like-for-like match up Ipswich on the day, and again got absolutely slapped aside. Do I think it is where our season will be defined, especially with the running of 8 games, losing to teams like those who are around the top 6? Absolutely not. Do I think that it's done anything to appease those travelling fans who travelled the length and breadth of the country to go and be, a mountain down with still a good portion of the game left to go? No, absolutely not. Is it on the manager? Yes. To be fair to him, he came out and said so himself. He was open and honest enough and said, look, this is on me. It's not necessarily on the players. It's something that, that's something that should be levelled firmly at his door, which I've got to be honest, is very refreshing to hear a manager come out and say so.
Yeah. Andrew, what was your view of it? I know we have to talk about it.
Well, the Ipswich match. Well, the less we say, the better. Really, you're allowed to, have an off day at the end of the day, and even them in the off day when they won 1-0 up, we nearly got an equaliser. Pavade had a great shot, which their goalkeeper made a very good save. One each, different story perhaps, but no, it didn't go in. That's a 1-0, and then from when they got the second goal, their tails were up, and we were never really in it after that. So I think we put it down to, as you said, it was one match of the battle, not the war. We're not going to win every game. But obviously, it's still better to win one and lose one than to draw 2. So we've got to look at everything in the full spectrum. And as I said to you before, I'm aiming for 2 points per game. It's the ideal scenario we're looking for. So for the next 6 matches, we're going to see 12 points. They don't care how we get them, but a minimum of 12 points. So in other words, whether it's 3 wins and 3 draws or 4 wins and 2 defeats, whatever, but 12 points will steer us clear to where and put us in the direction of where we need to be. Okay. Simple as that.
So another, used to be a relegation friend is in town this weekend. However, victory over the Bluebirds has seen Swansea now just 1 win away from safety. So if you beat the Owls this Good Friday, James, you can probably bet that Swansea win the Championship next season. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Looking at the way things have panned out now, 3 points Friday, and I think that should allay any fears that we did have. I mean, at one point I think we were close to being 4 points from the bottom three. So I think the carrot is there for us to go there and try and get those 3 points, and then just put that to bed and try to focus on next season.
Yeah, when the reverse fixture was happening, of course, this was Swansea were without a win when Wednesday came to the Swansea.com Stadium. What did you make of Wednesday back in late September, James?
Oh, it was that there was actually a team in the division that was worse than us, and I mean that with no disrespect. I mean, Shinsko Munos's football was absolutely horrific. I can't believe these poor guys had to pay to watch it. And then we had Michael Duff in the dugout, and I think at one point both sides were telling both managers that their football was absolutely dire. So I think that really said it all.
Yeah, only 2 or 3 players are going to be playing on this weekend who were playing in that game. I can assure you, there's a different setup altogether now. Different setup altogether. You can forget that game. That game was history.
All right, let's talk about then suspensions and injuries then. Matt, is Poveda likely to be fit? What's the latest?
Doesn't look great for him or Bannon, to be perfectly honest, before the weekend, which is a huge loss. And anybody who is travelling from Swansea all the way to Sheffield can breathe a huge sigh of relief there if neither of those two start, just because everything that has been good from February onwards, when we've had a run of really positive results, ticks through those two players. I would hope to see Bannon. Less so, I think we're going to see a chance of Jan Poveda coming in. And that's purely from the basis of we have a bigger sample size as a fan base with Barry Bannon. He will strap himself up and patch himself up and make himself in some way, shape or form available. It's a huge loss. There is no getting around it. But we have left ourselves in this position where we have to win on Friday. You have to win your home games that are remaining, irrespective of who's out there on the pitch and who's playing. We may be looking at a return of Josh Windass in the coming weeks. Whether this weekend would be too early for him or not is probably a bit too soon to tell before press conferences are released right before the game. But he would be a big bring back with a little bit of creative flair, because that is the one thing that does worry me with both Bannon and Poveda out is where does our creativity come from to break a somewhat resurgent Swansea side down?
Yeah. Andrew, given that you're playing Swansea side that are full of confidence, your best 2 players are out. They won last year in April at Hillsborough, and you've just been off the back of a 6-0 thrashing. Would you take a draw now?
No, most certainly not. The last time we lost 3 successive games on the trot was back in November. It was 4 months ago. And it's not happening this week. So forget that. We're not losing to Swansea. I sound like Brian Clough. What I'm saying is that we need to get our game together. And if Matt says we don't have Bannon by any chance, and also we're missing on Poveda as well, we're going to be reliant on the likes of Masaba and Gassama have got to turn up and impose themselves on the game, and Ugbo's try and find the back of the net. I'm expecting a very hard-fought game, and I'll take a ugly 1-0 win right now. We don't care how we get it. It's going to be very tight. We've got to just try and find a way of scoring a goal and making sure we don't concede. Our defence has got to be solid. We've got to make sure they don't come at us and get a goal. Simple as that. I know they're on a decent run. They only lost 1 game in the last 5, Swansea, so obviously they've got their confidence up as well. I'm glad they beat Cardiff, because that probably given them that bit of a gap to make them not feel so panicky about that, the visit to Hillsborough. So, I'm still very hopeful, even if those 2 players, and as Matt says, hopefully Windass is on his way back very soon. We are going to need him in there now when it matters most. Now they've all been cup finals, we know, over the last couple of weeks, even more so. But this is it. We've got to deliver. We've got a tough couple of away games coming up for Swansea, Middlesbrough away and QPR away. We need to go into those games with a win under our belt, not 3 successive defeats. That's for sure.
Okay. James, tell the Owls fans, how do they go about beating Swansea then? Where are your vulnerabilities?
I think mainly at the back. Essentially, if you try to turn us and maybe go long ball, we don't seem to be able to deal with that very well. I will say we're probably going to start very fast against you. We're going to press you straight out the blocks. We did against Cardiff last week. We'll not give you a breath on the ball in the first half. Maybe if you can't weather that storm, we tend to peter off a little bit in the second half. The intensity seems to drop a little bit. So, I think if Sheffield are going to get a toehold in the game, it's probably going to be coming in the second half when our energy levels dip a little bit. But if they can't weather that first 45 minutes, we might see a few goals.
Please don't call us Sheffield. Don't please.
Oh,
Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yeah, I can see Andrew's buttons, blood pressure rising there. Right, okay, let's get some score predictions then. I want to ask you about the club versus country route. James, you go first then. You've seen how good Swansea are at the moment. You haven't seen how bad Wednesday have been recently, but what are you going to go with?
With us finding our feet and scoring a few goals at the moment, and with Bannon and Paveda being out, I'm going to go 3-1 Swansea. I think there will be goals in it for us. I think the renewal of confidence that we've got there and the fact that we're now starting to find our feet will be massive. So yeah, I'm going 3-1.
Okay. Matt?
I know everything James has just said there sounds very plausible, and I could see myself absolutely walking out on Good Friday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon thinking, I can't believe he's got that absolutely right. I am going to go for a 1-0 win because we don't draw games. The main reason being is I am of the firm belief now that it's not become we will win. You have to win your home games now remaining to ease some of that pressure and hopefully pick up one away as well.
Andrew?
Yeah, Matt said exactly what I'm thinking as well. And as I said to you earlier on, the win ugly 1-0 scenario has to be the deal. We've got to make sure we score a goal somehow, somewhere. Ukbo, get one in the back of the net. Anyone. Windass, if he comes back, he'd come back rip-roaring, ready to go. But I don't care who scores. Even the goalkeeper, hit one from the goalkeeper, his goal area. Just get one in the back of the net and then sit tight and hold it 1-0.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. What the club versus country row has reared up again with obviously England being in action and Wales being in action this week. Matt, where would you stand on this row personally? Would you rather see Wednesday be promoted to the Premier League, or would you rather see England win the Euros?
Mark, I will give a very simple answer on this. I would rather see Sheffield Wednesday win the Bristol Street Motors Trophy down at League One than I would see England win a World Cup. For me, it's not even a debate, and I know for James, who, by all accounts, the Welsh are far more patriotic than us about their club and country football. I watched the Wales game the other night, and it sounded like a fantastic atmosphere. For me, there is absolutely no debate. You cut me open, I will be blue and white rather than any sort of a St George flag. I'm just far more invested in it. We are, and have been in my real conscious football supporting lifetime, so far away from that level of international football that for me it just exists in a different stratosphere, the same as the Champions League does. So yeah, I would much rather win a trophy that realistically is totally redundant. I would much rather go up through the playoffs in League One than England win a major tournament. Yeah,
Andrew.
I go back to the 60s, Matt. You should probably realise, 66, okay? 1966, I remember it as clear as day. Wednesday in the FA Cup final, England in the World Cup final. What was more important? No question about it. Wednesday, even then, even though we had Ron Springett in the England squad, I couldn't give a monkey's toss if West Germany had beaten England that World Cup, if Wednesday could have won the FA Cup against Everton. How we blew a 2-0 second half lead and lost to your lot 3-2, beggars belief.
Let's complete the set here. James, would you rather see Wales? I almost said, would you rather see England? Would you rather see Wales win the Euros or Swansea be promoted?
I'm probably going to shock everyone here, but I would actually rather see Swansea promoted, and it's purely down to like an identity. Basically, I probably identify with Swansea. I grew up watching the football through Martinez, through Rogers, Laudrup, and I just feel that with current football with Wales at the moment, it's not great. It's like, it does flatter to deceive a little bit. We look like we're doing well. We have got the tones, but Rob Page's football, oh my God. It's like Michael Duff ball, but we actually do sometimes win a game. I'd much rather see Swansea get promoted. That being said, I'm a proud Welshman. I love Wales, but it would be Swansea every single day.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, you lot, enjoy the game at Hillsborough on Friday. It's going to be a nervous affair, I'm sure, from attendance. But Wednesday fans are going to get right behind them.
How about you, Mark? Everton or England?
Oh, Everton every single day. every single day. I haven't cared about England since 1996. I don't know what it is. Usually because it's had prima donnas like Gerrard and Terry running it. Give us. I support England youth actually. I've spent England under 21s and under 18s. I've watched more games than that than I have main England side. Right, thank you, you three. We'll catch up with you next week. Good luck to you both, and we'll see you next week. And Wednesday fans, put a comment below and like the video. Thank you very much for watching.